let me ask you something maybe a bit strange right off the bat. What do you think is the true opposite of fragile?
Hmm.
Most of us, myself included, we kind of jump to robust or strong.
Yeah, that feels right, doesn't it?
It makes sense. If something fragile breaks easily, then robust, well, it should withstand things.
Sure, takes a beating.
But what if it's not quite that simple? What if the best systems, the ones that really last, don't just survive chaos, but actually need it to get better?
That's the core, isn't it? That's the fascinating idea we're diving into today.
Antifragility.
Exactly. Antifragility. It's a concept from Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Powerful and, yeah, pretty counterintuitive.
So our mission today.
Our mission is to unpack this, to explore how systems, maybe organisms, maybe whole structures, don't just withstand stress, randomness, volatility. They actually profit from it.
And this isn't just theory, right? We're talking practical stuff.
Absolutely. We want to look at how this applies to your world. You know, your health, your money, your job, pretty much everything.
Okay, let's unpack this. We need that basic distinction first, because it really messes with our intuition about resilience.
Right. Think of 3 buckets, maybe, or points on a spectrum.
First up, fragile. Easy one. Anything that breaks or gets harmed by stress.
Like that wine glass you mentioned. Beautiful, delicate.
Yeah, wants peace and quiet, predictability, any bump, any shock.
Shatters, handle with care, needs stability.
Then the other end, you've got robust.
Right. This resists stress, but crucially, without changing. Think of a big rock in a storm.
It just sits there.
Yeah. It tolerates the chaos, maybe gets a little worn down, but it doesn't fundamentally improve. It endures. That's the key word, endures.
Okay. And then we get to the main event, anti-fragile.
This is the game changer, something that gains from stress.
Games. How?
It actually seems to crave volatility, disorder, uncertainty, because that's how it improves, how it gets stronger, how it evolves.
Like the Hydra myth.
Cut off one head.
2 grow back, exactly.
Yeah.
Attack it, it gets stronger.
Right.
Or think about muscles after you lift weights. Right. They need that stress, that micro damage.
To repair and grow back stronger than they were before, that right there is anti-fragility in action.
It's such a cool concept.
It is. And it's so potent, Taleb actually had to coin the word. He argues most languages just didn't have a term for this profiting from disorder.
So it's not just survival.
Not at all. It's thriving because of stress. Robustness is about staying the same despite shocks. Anti-fragility is about getting better because of them.
Okay, so robustness endures, fragility breaks. But here's the part that kind of blows my mind. How can a system get stronger if its own parts are weak? Maybe even fragile. That feels wrong somehow.
It does seem counterintuitive, yeah. But connected to the big picture, you see it everywhere. Nature's a great teacher here.
Like evolution.
Evolution is probably the prime example of an anti-fragile process. Think about it. Individual organisms, they're fragile.
They live, they die.
Right. But their failures, the genetic mutations that don't work out, the ones that can adapt, that get removed, they die off. But every survivor passes on traits that did work, traits that are stronger, more adapted. So the system of life, the species as a whole, it gets stronger precisely because its fragile parts are constantly turning over, tested, refined.
Wow. So individual failure is necessary for the system's success.
Exactly. Without that constant filtering, that death and failure at the individual level, you don't get the adaptation that builds long-term resilience for the whole group.
That makes so much sense. It's like a massive ongoing trial and error. And I suppose the economy functions kind of similarly.
Very much so. Individual businesses, you know, that coffee shop on the corner, even a big tech firm, they're fragile.
Many fail. We see that all the time.
And their failure isn't just like a dead end, it's information.
Yeah.
Crucial information.
How so?
Other businesses learn from those mistakes. Capital, talent. It gets reallocated to things that work better. The market overall becomes more efficient, more robust, you could say, because of those failures.
So the entrepreneur's loss is the system's gain, in a way.
Precisely. That constant churn, that renewal driven by individual fragility, that makes the whole economic system incredibly anti-fragile over the long haul.
Okay, this is clicking. Which makes me think about our own, personal systems, our bodies. How does anti-fragility show up there?
Oh, the human body is a fantastic example. It's a masterclass in anti-fragility, largely through something called hormesis.
Hormesis, what's that?
It's basically the idea that small, controlled doses of harm or stress actually make you stronger. It's the science behind what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but, within limits.
Like weight training. I always thought that sounded nuts, intentionally damaging your muscles. But now,
You got it. That micro damage from lifting, it signals a repair process. And crucially, your body doesn't just fix it, it overcompensates.
adds extra.
Exactly. Adds extra tissue, strengthens the fibers, prepares for the next challenge. It builds this reserve capacity that might seem wasteful when things are easy.
But invaluable when you actually need it.
Absolutely priceless in a crisis. Your body built that extra strength because you stressed it.
What about the immune system? Vaccinations seem like a perfect fit here.
Textbook example. Vaccines expose your body to a weakened or partial version of a pathogen. It's a controlled stressor.
Training the troops.
Precisely. It trains your immune system to recognize and fight off the real deal later without you having to get dangerously sick.
And we see the flip side too, right? Kids in super sterile environments.
Yeah, sometimes they can develop weaker immune responses, more allergies. Their systems didn't get those necessary little challenges, those training exercises, to learn and adapt properly. No mild stressors means no learning for the system.
That's powerful. And I remember reading about astronauts losing bone density in space. Is that tied into?
It is, and it's a great illustration of the downside of removing stress. In zero gravity, there's no constant load on the skeleton.
So the bones weaken.
Exactly. They lose density because the body figures, hey, no stress here, no need to maintain this dense structure. It shows that shielding something from all challenge isn't protection. It actually undermines its strength, its ability to cope. Systems often need shocks just to maintain themselves, let alone improve.
Okay, so our bodies, nature, they thrive on this controlled stress. How does this seemingly backward idea apply to something like, well, finance? It feels like the total opposite of standard investment advice. We're usually told to minimize risk, smooth things out.
Right, that's the conventional wisdom. But Taleb, coming from trading, suggests something quite different. The barbell strategy.
Barbell, like weights?
Kind of. Instead of putting everything in medium risk stuff, which can actually be quite fragile to big surprises, split your investments into two extremes. The vast majority, say 80-90%, goes into ultra safe, almost boring things, government bonds, cash, stuff that won't blow up.
Okay, super safe on one side.
Then the remaining small chunk, maybe 10-20%, goes into very high risk, high reward opportunities. Think venture capital, speculative assets, things with huge potential upside.
Wow, that is completely different. Most advisors want you in the middle. What's the benefit here? Why is that anti-fragile?
Because it's set up to profit from big events, from volatility, rather than just survive them. Your safe stuff protects your downside. You can't lose much.
Right, capped losses.
But that small, risky portion, it has what we call positive asymmetry, unlimited upside potential. If things are calm, okay, the safe stuff is safe, the risky stuff might do okay or not. But if there's a big shock, a volatile swing.
The risky part could explode.
Exactly. It could generate massive gains, more than making up for any sluggishness elsewhere. The average investor fears volatility. The barbell investor is positioned to benefit from it. It's a total mindset shift, gaining from the unpredictable.
That makes me think of another natural example. I've heard about forests that actually need fire. It seems totally destructive on the surface.
You're probably thinking of ecosystems like those with lodgepole pines.
Fire looks like pure destruction, right?
Absolutely. It clears everything.
But for some species, it's essential. Certain pine cones only open and release seeds under intense heat. The fire clears out deadwood, kills off pests, recycles nutrients into the soil.
Creating the perfect conditions for new growth.
Stronger, more diverse regrowth, often. So trying to prevent all fires in those areas isn't just hard, it can be counterproductive.
How so? Makes it worse.
Precisely. If you suppress all the small, natural fires for decades, dead material, undergrowth, it all builds up. Fuel load, they call it. So when a fire eventually does start, and it inevitably will, it becomes catastrophic, uncontrollable, burns way hotter, way wider than it should have.
Like trying to overstabilize things.
Exactly. It mirrors how attempts to smooth out complex systems, like economies, by removing all the little bumps and failures can actually remove those vital stressors. It stops the system from purging small problems.
Letting them build up into something huge. Right. They fester and grow until you get a massive, unexpected collapse. It reinforces Taleb's warning. Tranquility is fragility in disguise. Things look calm, but hidden risks are accumulating underneath.
Okay, this is all fascinating in practice, but what's the underlying principle? The sort of mathematical why behind antifragility? How can disorder possibly lead to gain?
Fundamentally, it boils down to something called convex payoffs, or positive asymmetry.
Convex payoffs. Meaning, imagine a situation where your potential gains from something good happening are much, much larger than your potential losses from something bad happening. Your upside is way bigger than your downside, maybe even unlimited.
Right.
The math actually shows that if you're in a situation like that, a convex situation, then variability, randomness, chaos actually increases your average expected gain over time.
Wait, more randomness is better. If the payoff structure is convex, yes. Think of it like a simple game. Maybe you can lose $10 max, but you have a tiny chance to win $1,000. The more you play, the more randomness you face, the better your expected outcome becomes, because those potential huge wins vastly outweigh the small losses. Variability helps you. It doesn't hurt you, on average.
So it's about setting things up with limited downside, massive upside. That flips risk on its head, which brings up a key question. What are the actual mechanisms? How do these systems do the strengthening?
It really comes back to those small, repeated stresses. They do two things. They build capacity, like muscles getting stronger, and they provide continuous feedback.
Feedback?
Yeah, exposure to randomness reveals hidden weaknesses, things you didn't know were problems. It forces the system to adapt, to fix those things, to iterate.
Learn on the fly.
Exactly. Systems that get constantly poked and prodded in small ways, they learn, they build redundancy, but systems that get too comfortable, that over-adapt to a long period of calm.
They become brittle.
Brittle. Highly vulnerable when that inevitable surprise finally hits. So antifragility isn't about dodging shocks. It's about setting yourself up so that every challenge, every bit of disorder leaves you better off, or at least provides useful information. It's about constant beneficial adaptation.
Okay, so let's bring this home for everyone listening. How can you consciously build more antifragility into your own life? How do you actually do this?
Well, there are definitely practical takeaways. Take health, for instance. We talked about resistance training that's introducing a micro-stressor.
Right.
You could also think about things like intermittent fasting that stresses your metabolic system in potentially beneficial ways, or controlled cold exposure, maybe even just ending your shower with cold water.
Builds resilience.
Seems to. Boosts the immune system for some people. These are small doses of that hormetic stress, forcing your body to adapt and get stronger.
Okay, what about money? Beyond the big barbell strategy for investments.
For your personal finances, the key is avoiding over-optimization. Don't live right on the edge, paycheck to paycheck.
Keep some slack.
Exactly. Maintain cash reserves. Diversify your income streams if you can. Don't rely on just one job, one client, one skill. And maybe apply that barbell idea personally. Keep most assets safe, liquid. But then strategically use small amounts to experiment.
I'll bet.
Small bets on volatile opportunities, maybe a side project, learning a new high-demand skill, a tiny speculative investment. The key is limited downside, potential for big upside. It gives you options without risking disaster.
And careers. Decision-making day to day, how does it apply there?
It's all about building optionality. That's a huge concept for Taleb.
Optionality, having more choices.
Precisely. Cultivate skills, relationships, experiences that open doors, that give you multiple paths forward. Don't lock yourself into one single trap.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Classic wisdom, but applied broadly. Embrace trial and error. See small failures not as disasters, but as learning opportunities, as data. Always protect your downside. Don't make bets you can't afford to lose, but keep that door wide open for unexpected positive outcomes.
And avoid getting cornered.
Yes. Avoid those squeezes where you have to do something no matter the cost. Like needing that last-minute flight for a crucial meeting and paying 10 times the normal price. Maximize your options. Always have a plan B. Maybe a plan C and D too.
Looking bigger picture now. What are the societal traps? Where do we collectively kind of mess this up and make things more fragile instead?
Oh, there are a few big ones. Taleb talks a lot about naive interventionism.
Meaning trying to fix everything.
Sort of. It's when we try too hard to smooth out complex systems, the economy, social structures with tons of regulations, subsidies, constant meddling. Sounds good, preventing problems.
Oh, wow.
But it often removes that vital volatility, those small stressors that actually help the system self-correct and purge weaknesses naturally.
Like the forest fire example again.
Exactly. Instead of preventing crises, it can allow small problems to fester, hidden from view, until they grow into something massive and catastrophic. We remove the system's own immune response, essentially.
So that tranquility is fragility, playing out on a huge scale. We think we're making things safer.
But we're often making them more vulnerable to the big, unexpected shock. Then there's what he calls the turkey problem.
The turkey problem.
Yeah, it illustrates how we mistakenly predict the future based only on the past we've seen. Imagine a turkey fed every single day by a farmer.
Happy turkey.
Very happy. Every day reinforces its belief. This farmer loves me. Life is stable and good. Its prediction model, based on all available data, looks solid.
Uh-oh, until when?
Until Thanksgiving. The turkey's model completely failed to account for that sudden, massive, unpredicted event, what Taleb calls a black swan.
Because it had never happened before in its experience.
Right. We do this all the time. We build things, like maybe a nuclear reactor, designed to withstand the biggest earthquake on record, forgetting that an even bigger one we haven't seen yet, is always possible. We misread the stability of the past.
That's a scary thought. What about the role of experts in all this?
That brings us to the critical issue of experts without skin in the game.
Meaning they don't face consequences.
Exactly. In many modern fields, think finance, policy making, even academia. Sometimes people can give advice, make forecasts, implement policies, and if they're right, they might benefit. But if they're disastrously wrong...
Nothing happens to them personally.
Often. Very little. They're anti-fragile, but at everyone else's expense. It's a huge moral hazard. Unlike, say, an ancient bridge builder whose bridge collapsing might have serious personal repercussions.
Or that medieval banker you mentioned.
Right. Modern experts often lack that direct personal downside risk. It disconnects advice from responsibility. So when you get advice, a key question is, what skin does this person have in the game? Are they exposed to the consequences of being wrong?
Look at what they do, not just what they say.
That's a good rule of thumb. And finally, I think society often undervalues trial and error. We love grand theories, big plans.
Top-down design.
Right. But real progress, especially historically, like the Industrial Revolution, it wasn't just scientists in labs. It was often tinkerers, hobbyists, people just trying stuff out.
Failing a lot.
Failing constantly. But occasionally stumbling onto something huge. Our systems today often penalize failure. They demand predictability. But when you try to eliminate all randomness, all small errors, you might also be eliminating the very source of true innovation and robust discovery. We stifle the Hydra's ability to grow stronger through challenge.
Wow. This really has been an eye-opening deep dive. It fundamentally reframes how you look at stress, uncertainty, everything.
It does.
So let's just recap that core idea one last time. Fragile systems, they avoid shocks. Robust systems, they withstand shocks.
But anti-fragile systems, they need shocks. They feed on them.
And the big irony here is that our constant quest for stability, for removing every bump in the road, every little stressor, we might actually be stripping away the very things that make us and our systems stronger and more capable.
We could be inadvertently making things more fragile in the long run.
So if you really want to thrive, not just survive, in this inherently unpredictable world, maybe stop chasing perfect stability.
Yeah, maybe instead think about how you could deliberately, carefully introduce some beneficial volatility into your life on your own terms.
Allowing yourself, your health, your finances, your career to actually gain from the chaos.
Turning chaos from an enemy into an ally?
How might you reframe that storm? Because with this mindset, the Hydra doesn't fear the sword.
And maybe you shouldn't fear the storm either.